So how does Facebook advertising work? The basic principle to understand here is PPC. If you're at all familiar with internet marketing, then you will have heard of the term. If you've mostly handled your advertising offline until now, though, you might not have. PPC stands for pay-per-click. What this means is that as an advertiser, you will only have to pay when someone actually clicks on one of your adverts. In turn, this means that you will never need to pay for an ad that's unsuccessful. If no one clicks on your adverts, then you don't pay a cent, and you'll still have gained exposure for your brand from it. The other great thing about PPC from your point of view as an advertiser is that it actually doesn't cost you all that much each time someone clicks either. Generally, in fact, you'll probably only have to pay a few cents and up to about $3 for clicks. This means that you have a fair margin for error when it comes to ROI. If you're trying to make money from a product you're selling on your site and you make about $30 per purchase, that means you only need a very small percentage of your clicks to actually result in a purchase, and you'll still be able to make a profit. Another great advantage when it comes to PPC marketing is this. You set the cost for the clicks, and the minimum spend is tiny. This means that a huge company like Amazon can afford to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on their Facebook advertising, while smaller businesses and entrepreneurs can also afford to pay for some ads too. It's highly adaptable, and this is a gigantic advantage when you have a limited budget or when you're just starting out. Essentially, all this works on a bidding system, whereby you set your CPC, your cost per click, or your CPI, your cost per impression, and this will end up defining how often your ad shows. Now obviously, Facebook wants to earn as much money as possible, everybody does, and so the ads that they show will be dictated by who is bidding the most. Each time there's a slot for an ad, all the relevant ones will be compared, and the ones that bid the highest will be shown the most often. So if you're willing to bid $2 for each click, chances are that your ad will be seen a lot. But it will also cost you a lot. Pay just 5 cents for each click, and your ad will be shown far more rarely. But at the same time, your overheads will be much lower each time someone does click on one. Another important factor to consider when making this decision is your overall budget. You can set a maximum budget with most forms of PPC, including Facebook advertising, and this allows you to set a cut-off point and a cap on how much you're going to spend. This way, if someone were to click on your ad 100 times, costing you $100 that day, your ad would stop showing. How do you calculate a good amount to set for your PPC and for your budget? Well, we'll get to that in a bit. What you basically need to know, though, is that this is a highly flexible system, and that gives you the control that you need to test the market and find the perfect price point for your ads. There is another huge benefit of Facebook advertising too, and that's the ability to target your audience strategically and very carefully. Basically, Facebook advertising has the advantage of giving you access to huge amounts of information about each member. Users on Facebook will usually share details such as their age, their profession, their hobbies and interests, their marital status, their location, and much more. All this in turn gives you the very powerful ability to pick who you want to see your adverts. Would you rather your ads were seen only by teenagers? Or would you rather they were seen by women based locally who were in a relationship? Now, if you're wondering why this matters, then of course the answer is it allows you to target your precise audience for your product or service. So, say you have a shop selling wedding dresses. That is when you would probably want to target women in a relationship, probably engaged, and living locally. Meanwhile, if you're selling computer games from an e-commerce store, you'd want to broaden your ads to target everyone in the country, assuming that you deliver that far, and you'd want to target mostly males in their teens and 20s who listed gaming as one of their hobbies. This way, you drastically reduce the amount of people clicking on your ads who aren't likely to buy, and you ensure that all your money is being spent on worthwhile and useful advertising. There are many more options to explore when choosing who to target your advertising campaigns at, and we'll look at all of those in more detail when we get to the Creating Your Facebook Ad video. These are just some of the benefits and features available to you when you start advertising with Facebook. There are more, and we'll look at them in depth later on. But to demonstrate the potential power of Facebook ads, let's give one example of how you might use them. One professional goal would be to get direct conversions. In internet marketing lingo, a conversion counts as someone going through the action that you want them to. In this case, we're going to say that it's clicking on your Buy Now link and buying your $30 ebook on fitness. The reason this is a brilliant strategy is that you can sell $30 ebooks with barely any overheads. Digital products like ebooks cost nothing to print or deliver, so your only cost will be hosting and advertising. That means if you can increase the percentage of people who actually buy your product after clicking on your ad, you can start generating a steady and stable ROI from your advertising. So you'd want to create an ebook, and probably you'd target people who are in their 20s and 30s who would most likely want such an ebook, and perhaps who listed the gym or fitness as a hobby, although perhaps not, depending on the precise angle of your book. Then you'd want to create an ad that would show either in the sidebar or on their home feed. In this ad, you would broadcast very clearly what it was you were selling and how much for. And this is where Facebook advertising can be a little different from other forms of advertising in terms of approach. In the past, you might have learned that you save the price until right at the end, when you've already convinced the person to learn all about your product and to buy. This is the AIDA approach: awareness, interest, desire, action. In PPC marketing, though, you're trying to avoid clicks just as much as you're trying to encourage them. In other words, you don't want people clicking on your ads unless there is some chance that they might actually be willing to buy. Now, this is very important, as otherwise you're going to lose your return on investment. So now you'll make your advert into a banner that clearly says, "Buy groundbreaking fitness ebook for $30. This technique will work because anyone who wouldn't want to pay $30 won't click. This means you can now afford to increase your CPC and have your ads seen more often. That means you increase your chances of being seen by someone who does want to pay $30 for your ebook, and that in turn will increase the percentage of clicks that result in an action. The objectives of your Facebook advertising then are going to impact heavily on the approach you use and will be intertwined with everything from your CPC to your maximum budget and ad design. As you'll see later, there are also different types of Facebook ad, and which one you pick is very likely to depend on your objectives too. Now, here comes the good bit. Facebook actually lets you set your goals right from the start, and the options they give you are fairly wide-ranging and comprehensive, and these cover improving engagements of a post, getting more likes for your Facebook page, getting more clicks or leads for your website, getting more installs for a mobile or Facebook app, and promoting your event offer. If you're trying to promote an external page, then it makes sense to select website conversions goal rather than website clicks. The reason for that is that website conversions means that you're looking at actual sales or sign-ups for your newsletter rather than just getting people to your site. The only reason you would prefer website clicks would be if you were making money from advertising, but there's a good chance this wouldn't be enough money per visitor to make direct PPC advertising a viable way to grow your income. A big competitor of Facebook advertising is Google AdWords, and I'll discuss the differences in the next video.